Hey y'all, David Alcohol. Back in 2006, this group used to meet at Fellowship, and on Wednesday nights there was no meeting, so we started meeting over at Sean H's house. Well, not his house, his neighborhood, and they had a clubhouse over there. And on Wednesday nights, we were meeting and having a guy's book study. And there was also some issues about a new chairperson, and there were some people that were disgruntled with the way things were going at Fellowship. And so resentment, coffee pot, that's all you need to start a new meeting. And the guys that started the group put the happy hour coming to life into motion. Anyways, Sean H., Dennis R., who is our speaker this evening, Mike G., Dan K., and the lawyer's name. Anyways, there was 5 guys, and they went looking, and they settled on this place here, and got it going. I was at the first meeting that was held here. The room did not look like this when we started. There was I don't know where's the table at. Anyways, there's the table, those shelving units, and I believe that was the only thing in here. That first meeting, the collection basket, there was an old toilet in the back there, and they had it out here on the table, and that's where we would put the money for the collection. I'm not talking about the tiles. The room needed painting and everything, and so. But anyways, we got started. Randall B. Did the mosaic in the back where it says Happy Hour 2006. Randall B. did that. Paul Ivy did the tile in the coffee area. In the bathroom also, yes. And he always liked to say that he was a founding member, but he was not even at the first meeting, but that's okay. Paul was... He always made it a point when he was sharing in a meeting afterwards that he was one of the founding members, and Matt and I would kind of look at each other and go like, okay, Paul. Anyways, when they got it started, they had some big ideas. Dan K. wanted everybody to have a leather chair, like an office chair, that would kind of like you could lean back in, and like a recliner, I guess, a mini recliner. Anyways, everybody was supposed to have those. That's what everybody was supposed to be sitting in. When they started pricing how much it was going to cost, you can see that we ended up with chairs like these. These aren't the original chairs that we have right now. These came from, I believe, Landmark Church of Christ. Michael J. Got permission they donated them to us, and so we needed to replace the original seats. They lasted for quite a long time. I don't think they lasted a good 18 years. So anyways, that's how they got started on that. Sean H. and Dennis wanted this up on the wall. Dan K. went and got it, and they put it up there. The slogans back there and how it works and the 12 traditions, that came from Dennis's mom. she used to work at the Central Service Office, and she sent this stuff down. The name Happy Hour also came from Dennis's mom got sober in Syracuse, New York, and the group that she was going to was called Happy Hour, and they were kicking the name around, and they settled on Happy Hour. The Silk Stockings, the business name, I believe it's a business name, that came from Don T., who was the originator of, or the starter of the original Chisholm group over in Chisholm. Used to say that they would get, the people would come in and they would get them when they were wearing work boots and overalls or coveralls, bib coveralls, and when they got cleaned up, they would send them over cleaned up in a suit and silk stockings. And so that's where the name Silk Stockings came from. Other than that, it's just been rocking and rolling. I think that's it. That's enough anyway. Bye.
Good job.
All right. Thank you, David. Okay. So we're going to get started. Thank y'all so much for being here. And help me open the meeting. Well, first of all, let's say welcome. Once again, it's the 20th anniversary of Happy Hour, and we're so excited that all of you are here. If you get antsy and want to have some space to spread your wings a little bit and walk around, then feel free. You can go sit in the back. We have a tent out back and some chairs, so you can get some fresh air out there. We've got plenty of food in the back if you still want to make some, get some refreshments. And without further ado, we're going to get started. So please shut down your cell phones and place them on vibrate or turn them off so we can have full, everybody's just full attention while we're here for 1 hour. And then I'll ask everybody to please help me open this meeting with a moment of silence followed by the Serenity Prayer. Prayer. God, help me with serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. And Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength, and hope with each other that they may solve their common problem or help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to not drink. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organization, or institution. I'm adding words in here. It's okay. It doesn't wish to engage in any controversy and neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. This is an open meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous, and we are glad you are all here, especially newcomers. In keeping with our singleness of purpose and our third tradition, which states that the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. We ask that anyone who participates confine your well, we don't have discussions today. It's just a speaker meeting. All right, moving on. My name's Patty. I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Patty.
And announcements. If you are a Happy Hour member, we have our Group Conscious tomorrow. Our business meeting is at 4 o'clock here in the rooms of Happy Hour. So if you, one of the questions earlier that was asked on the panel is, how do you get involved? How do you make friends? This is how you do it. Come and be a part of the group. So, all right.
Those are also
Yes.
so
Okay.
fun.
It is fun. It's a lot of fun. And it's great to learn how to deal with lots of personalities. So,
That's being nice.
It's good. All right. I have asked 3 friends to read How It Works, the 12 Traditions, and the Promises. Thank you, Logan.
Hi, I'm Logan. I'm an alcoholic.
Hey, Logan.
This is how it works. Chapter 5. Rarely have we seen a person fail who's thoroughly followed our path. Those who do not recover are people who cannot or will not completely give themselves to this simple program. Usually men and women who are constitutionally incapable of being honest with themselves. There are such unfortunates. They are not at fault. They seem to have been born that way. They are naturally incapable of grasping and developing a manner of living which demands rigorous honesty. Their chances are less than average. There are those, too, who suffer from grave emotional and mental disorders, but many of them do recover if they have the capacity to be honest. Our stories disclose in a general way what we used to be like, what happened, and what we're like now. If you have decided you want what we have and are willing to go to any length to get it, then you're ready to take certain steps. As some of these we balked. We thought we could find an easier, softer way, but we could not. With all the earnestness at our command, we beg of you to be fearless and thorough from the very start. Some of us have tried to hold on to our old ideas, and the result was nil until we let go absolutely. Remember that we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it's too much for us, but there is one who has all power. That one is God. May you find him now. Half measures availed us nothing. We stood at the turning point. We ask his protection and care with complete abandon. Here are the steps we took, which are suggested as a program of recovery. Step 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol. Their lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed, became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. Step 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Many of us exclaimed, "What an order! I can't go through with it." Do not be discouraged. No one among us has been able to maintain anything like perfect adherence to these principles. We are not saints. The point is that we are willing to grow along spiritual lines. The principles we have set down are guides to progress. We claim spiritual progress rather than spiritual perfection. Our description of the alcoholic, the chapter to the agnostic, and our personal ventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power could have relieved our alcoholism. And C, that God could and would if he were sought.
Thanks, Logan. Some traditions.
My name's Bonnie. I'm an alcoholic. These are the 12 traditions of Alcoholics Anonymous. 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon AA unity. 2, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as he may express himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants. They do not govern. 3, the only requirement for AA membership is the desire to stop drinking. 4, each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5, each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. 6, an AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, thus problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8, Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9, AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10, Alcoholics Anonymous has no Opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name, ought never be drawn into public
Restarting your device.
11, our public relations policy is based on attraction rather than promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and film. 12, anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. Responsibility declaration. I'm responsible when anyone, anywhere reaches out for help. I want the hand of AA always to be there, and for that I am responsible.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Thank you, Lonnie.
Promises.
Hello, I'm Jesse. I'm an alcoholic. Jesse. These are the promises of AA. If we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale that we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and of economic insecurity will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Are these extravagant promises? God. They are being fulfilled among us sometimes quickly and sometimes slowly, but they will always materialize if we work for them. Thank you.
Okay. As we said earlier, we are self-supporting, declining outside contributions. And so right now we are going to pass around, we're going to pass around the 7th tradition basket. The 7th tradition states that we're fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. So if you have $1, give $1.
It's part of the 50-50.
No, this is not. This is in addition. Patty, we want to see those dollar bills. We know you've got it. And the baskets are being passed in the back also. So if you can see me, then you can get a basket pretty soon. It's coming.
Processing fee?
Yeah.
Processing fee?
Yes. We're not going to have a processing fee for these. All right, we're going to let those get passed around. And if you need to make change in the offering, not the offering basket, sorry, if you need to make change in the basket, you can do that afterwards.
Or just take out whatever you need.
There you go.
You don't need it.
All right. Everybody get a chance to contribute.
Participate.
All right. Everybody in the back, our basket's pretty full up here. Let's see how you did. I feel like a televangelist. Pass it around another time, y'all. Here we go, Corky. I'm just kidding.
One more time.
Don't
forget your processing fee.
I know. I'll take my 20% off the top later. I'm just kidding. All right. Stephanie, just keep the basket back there, if you will. All right. So today marks a beautiful occasion. It's the 20th anniversary of Happy Hour. And I look around this room and I see people who tell me that they've been here for 20 years. They tell me that they've been sober for 20 years. And the thought of that blows my mind. But it's so wonderful to know that, first of all, Montgomery has a beautiful recovery community. but also that this is one of those places that this is the place where I came and got sober. I remember hearing for the longest time. I feel like I'm inadequate to make this introduction, but I've heard of, well, let's just say this. When you come in, you walk into happy hour, and pretty much anybody who comes into happy hour from out of town will say, oh, I'm so glad you still have that on the wall, because it makes such an impression to see. We are not a glum lot. We absolutely insist on enjoying life. And I think that, a lot of times people will come to the early morning meeting. This is the only early meeting in town. And you walk in and you find such joy and laughter at 6:30 in the morning. Who, number one, wants to get up that early?
Just getting in.
And exactly, a lot of us we're just going to sleep around that time. But now you're coming in and you're hearing people laugh. You're hearing the joy that's going on. And I've heard story after story after story after story of, well, Dennis said this. And when Dennis says this, and Dennis said, your brain is not your friend, it's your enemy, and all of these great things. But I want to say that even though Dennis, I don't feel like I'm adequate to make this introduction, it's because of him and others who started Happy Hour 20 years ago that the person in here with the least amount of sobriety gets to come in at 6:30 in the morning and experience this joy that we have. They get to experience the friendship, the fellowship that we have. They get to come to a meeting on a Sunday night and hear a speaker. You get to have this fellowship, and I appreciate so much those who have gone before us and those that we can't thank today, but I'm so excited to hear Dennis, and we want to welcome him. Give him a big round of applause. Thank you for coming from New York.
Bill, man.
Hey, how you doing? Hello. I'm Dennis. I'm an alcoholic. I've spoke probably hundreds of times. I've never been more nervous than I am right now. And I have some administrative things I want to handle first, that I promised. I came into AA October 28th of 1989, and back then, guys didn't have females for sponsors. I have a female sponsor today. That's the first challenge that I have to get away with. That's over with. They're out there. All the people, I want to acknowledge all the people outside in the cheap seats that didn't love me enough to get here on time for a good seat. So, and especially Ashley, because she said I have to mention her name. So, but, all right. And also, if profanity offends you, you're in the wrong room. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. And there's so many people. Eileen, I was just talking about you the other day. Eileen introduced me to Rosa Parks. I mean, come on, man. That was like a momentous occasion in my life. And I see her, and that, boom. Anyway, I'm supposed to tell you what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now, and I'll do that to the best of my ability. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like I told my sponsor, I'm like on an emotional cliff, because I've been here. There's a lot of firsts that have happened since I came here this week. This is the first time I've been without my better half, who most of you know, my wife. So it's sort of sad, because everywhere I go, there's a memory, there's a memory, there's a memory, there's a memory. And I have never spoke without seeing her look at me, So, Vicki, that's your job. You're supposed to nod and say, you're doing good.
Got his back.
All right. So, anyway, I'm not from here, obviously. I'm from upstate New York. I was born into what I would call a normal family. They were a normal family because they were my family. That was the only thing I had normal to compare to. When I say normal, that means my mom and dad got divorced when I was very young. I lived with grandparents. My dad met a stripper, abandoned us, moved to Florida. You know, chaos it ensued. And that was my family. When I was born, and I have to say this, when I was born, I swear to God, the doctor took me out, slapped me on the ass, he looked at me, and he said, "You suck." And I believed that my whole life. I truly, truly believed that. I knew that if you knew me, you wouldn't like me. I knew if you knew what I was thinking, you wouldn't like me. So I spent my whole life trying to pretend to be something that I wasn't, you know. And I was somewhat successful at it, you know. I was pretty good at it, you know. I went to Catholic school, which, you know, helped me understand my guilt. And
That was good. Yeah. That was good.
And I'll never forget it. I had a teacher in third grade, and this became the story of my life. I had to write a paper on Abraham Lincoln, and I was so pumped to write this paper on Abraham Lincoln, right? And I started out good, and then I finished like I normally finish. And she wrote on the paper, "Dennis, you started out like a rocket and you ended up like a wet noodle." And I will never forget that, because that was the story of my life. I was a good starter, and I started with the best of intentions, you know. And I wanted you to judge me on my intentions, not my actions. That doesn't work. So the first time I drank wasn't successful. I was about 12 years old, and we had this was a big thing in my house to, it was a big thing in my house to drink. My first drink ever was whiskey sours, and whiskey and eggnog. I apologize. And I got so sick. This was on Christmas Eve. I drank, and I got so sick that I couldn't be with the family to do the shit you do on Christmas. And what, just to prove that I'm like an alcoholic, I swear to God, I was 10 years sober before I ever took another drink of eggnog. Because it was the eggnog that made me sick. You know, I drank whiskey tons of times after that, but that was my deal. In March of 1980, I met who would become my future wife, and we fell in love, and some things happened that weren't the best, and you know, I was 18, she was 15, she got pregnant. You know, and we decided we're going to trudge the road of happy destiny together, you know, as a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old. And I didn't have a car. I didn't have a license, you know. And we started our life together, moving from apartment to apartment, getting thrown out, all those things. And at this time, I started in sales. I got a natural aptitude for lying, so I was pretty successful at sales. And I sold, if you were buying it, I was selling it. I sold vacuum cleaners door to door, Kirby's, which are the only vacuum cleaners.
You gotta have a Kirby.
Yeah. Not Rainbows, not Electrolux, Kirby. And I had people through my entire sales career enable me because I was good at it. I was really, really good at it. And what would happen is I would come in all hungover in the morning. They'd let me sleep while we were canvassing, and then I'd wake up and I'd sell something. And then after I sold one, we'd go get some beer and we would drink, and that was it. You know, that's what my life. I mean, literally, it happened all the time. Nobody wanted to stop me, you know. I started to do things that I started to do things that caused me great shame. Really, that caused me, shame is, there needs to be a bigger word than that. Because when I sent my daughter to college, and we had a little family reunion, I was the only male in my family that had the same wife. All of my people cheated on their wives. They did it just was ridiculous. All of my male, people that I looked up to. And I swore I would never do that. And I started to do, I needed something, and the alcohol, the alcohol wasn't working, so I dabbled in other things, and I just, my life was out of control. It was unmanageable. And I was consistently doing things that caused me shame. I guess like now in about 1981, my mother, she goes into Alcoholics Anonymous, right? And gets sober. Actually, the reason we named this happy hour was because she gave me her book when I joined, and it was I opened up her big book, and it said, Happy Anniversary from the Happy Hour group. And I had it with us when we were in here, and we said, yeah, let's do it, man. And then we bought the neon sign the next day. But she goes into Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, my life is, we're spiraling. I'm spiraling, not we spiraling. We have a daughter, a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful young lady. And I'm just out of control, basically. Just doing things that are not appropriate. And one thing leads to another, because my whole life, it was always the next thing that was going to make me happy. I mean, when we get a nicer apartment, well, then I'll be happy. When we get a car, I'll be happy. I was doing all this drinking. I didn't even have a license yet. As a matter of fact, I bought a car before I had a license because I'm an alcoholic. But one thing leads to another, and I'm doing well in sales and everything, and so we finally buy a house. We got a house in the suburbs. I got a company car. I got this gorgeous wife driving a Camaro. I get invited to these parties with big people in the city. I got an 8-ball cocaine in my pocket, and I live in it. I'm the best, man. I got it. This is my life, and I hated myself. I absolutely hated myself. I started going to, I was going to work in the mornings and just thinking, I wish I had the courage to kill myself. I wish I had the courage to kill myself. And when I look at it in retrospect, I'm not really sure that I wanted to kill myself, but what I really wanted to know was who was going to show up for my funeral. Because, but one day I come home to my beautiful house in the suburbs, and there's no beautiful wife, and there's no beautiful daughter, and she freaking took everything. She left me a bowl, a spoon, a fork. She would tell you something different if she could, but it's my story. And a TV, in a chair, and I'm in this house, and I just know something's wrong, man. So I go to this shrink. I shouldn't say that. I'll get in trouble for that. I go to whatever you call it, a psychiatrist, and I go to him, and I am lying to him. And he tells me he doesn't think I got a problem drinking. So I was good to go. But my wife had left me. Now, and I needed a lawyer. So what I did was I called my parents up. Now, while this is happening, while I'm spiraling out of control, my dad becomes an alcohol counselor. My mom's in AA, you know. So I asked, I basically am calling them up to manipulate them out of money, because that's what I do. Not as good as some people in the cheap seats, but, and he knows who I'm talking about. I won't say his last name, Scotty. But I call him, and my parents, my mom and dad say to me, listen, Dennis, we'll give you the money for the attorney, but we want you to read a book. We want you to read this book. And I would love to tell you that it was the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I opened it up and an angel flew out, and I've been sober ever since. But it wasn't. It was a book that was called I'll Quit Tomorrow. They gave me a copy of that. And I read this book because I promised them that I would. And another caveat to the agreement was that I go see this psychiatrist again. And I read the book, and I remember finishing the book, and I was so angry because this guy knew how I thought. He knew how I acted. He knew how I perceived things. It was like he was in my brain. He predicted how I would respond to situations. It was something like I had never experienced. I remember finishing it, throw it, said this is baloney. But I decided that I would go see the psychiatrist. And but that was on a Tuesday. On October 28th of 1989, my brother, Vinny, that's his name. It really is his name. My brother Vinny was a drunk, a sober drunk. He's still sober, but he got arrested. He was turning onto a 4-lane street, and he went across all 4 lanes and crashed into the steps of the police department. The dispatcher arrested him. So I come from good brood.
Good stuff.
Yeah. But I decide after I read this book that I might be an alcoholic. But first thing I do is, one of the things my wife we had a bowling team. I was on the bowling team. Now my wife left me. She doesn't live with me. She's taken my daughter, but she didn't want me to quit the bowling team. And that's really indicative of the family disease, man, because it was her. It was like she didn't want anybody to know. You know, they'll know that somebody will know because we're fine. You know, we're fine. And so I remember going to bowling, and I promised I wasn't going to drink. I promised me I wasn't going to drink. And so we're in the bowling league, and I'm going out to the bar, and I'm getting shots of cinnamon schnapps and hitting them in between frames. And I think, you know, who are you hiding this from? You? You know, like I'm hiding this from me, you know? I hadn't told anybody that I wasn't going to drink. So I thought maybe I got a problem with alcohol. So you think? So I called my brother up and I asked him if he would take me to an AA meeting. And I went to my first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous on October 28th of '89, and I haven't found it necessary to drink since. But there was a dude in that meeting. His name was Keith C. And that Keith C. looked at me and he said, "Just don't drink and go to meetings." And that pissed me off for some reason, you know. I thought, who are you, you know? And so I went to a meeting the next day, and I walked up to him. I said, "I'm here." And he said, "Big deal," you know. So I went to my second meeting out of spite, really. But I was going to meetings, and I did what you told me to do. I did what you suggested that I do. I went to meetings. And, you know, Keith told me everything that I ever needed to know about Alcoholics Anonymous. Don't drink and go to meetings, because if you don't drink and go to meetings, you'll get a sponsor. If you don't drink and go to meetings, you'll work the steps. If you don't drink and go to meetings, work the steps, you'll get a relationship with a power greater than yourself. You know, if you don't drink and go to meetings and do all these things, your life will become better beyond your wildest dreams, you know? That's what happens if you don't drink and go to meetings. So at the time, I didn't appreciate it. And it didn't just all of a sudden happen that I appreciated it. It was years later before I could appreciate it. But anyway, I start going to AA, and they tell me, everybody's talking about this sponsorship. And so I said, well, how do you get a sponsor? And they say, you just ask someone, and they'll tell you yes. Nobody's going to say no to you. So I picked this guy out, and this guy reminded me of my high school football coach. He wouldn't take any of my bullshit, and he'd get the job done. And so I asked him to be my sponsor, and he said no. But I'll be your temporary sponsor until you can find somebody more suitable. And he said, if I'm going to be your sponsor, you're going to do 5 things every day. When you get up in the morning, you're going to get on your knees and you're going to ask God to help you stay sober. You're going to go to a meeting every day. You're going to read the big book every day. You're going to call me every day. And before you go to bed at night, you're going to thank God for another day sober. And I remember the next day, I'm getting up, I'm in my house, the electricity's off. I mean, because that's what happens. And I get on my knees, and I am really nervous that somebody's going to see me getting on my knees, right? They couldn't see me if they were in the freaking room with me. But I said what was perhaps the most sincere prayer I've ever said in my whole entire life. I couldn't pray silently. My mind was going 100 miles an hour. I have all this stuff going through my head. So I say out loud, God, the only reason I'm doing this is because he told me to. Please help me stay sober. And that began my journey, man. That began my journey, It was a year, some time later after that, my wife is living in a beautiful townhouse and with my daughter and everything. And I don't know, year and a half later, we went on a date, and we started a relationship that was really based on open and honest communication, and we realized that we really do love one another, And she's been my rock ever since, man. It started our journey. And then I was sober a couple years, just about a couple years, and I decided I wanted to join the Air Force, and because I wanted to become a computer programmer, because I just picked up on this stuff really easy. I did some programming. I was at I sold cars too, by the way, used cars, and I wrote a little program for figuring stuff out. So I wanted to become a computer programmer, so I went and I took the test and everything, and they said, yeah, all right, you can go in and we'll guarantee you a programming job. And so I filled out my dream sheet. Where do you want to go? Italy, Germany, San Diego, no way was Montgomery, Alabama on the list. But what I did find out is the only place in the United States you can trade Montgomery, Alabama for is Tulsa, Oklahoma. So I came to Montgomery, Alabama, and we moved down here, and that was, I don't know, 91 probably. So I lived here for a long time. And I came to here, and of course you did it all wrong, You didn't do it like they do it in New York, and I struggled. I struggled a bit, but I never totally got away from meetings. Don T became a great inspiration to me. Don T was he was like a superhero, dude. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He was a superhero, And my life started to get better, and my life was really better. And one of the things that'll stay in my heart for the rest of my life is when Sarah had the baby, and we would go to her parents for Christmas, her parents wouldn't talk to me. So I would stand in the foyer, and Sarah would go in, and they would open up presents, and they would have Christmas, and then we would leave, And they didn't like me. I wasn't too fond of them, But her father, Sarah's dad, got sober right after my mom got sober. And I remember I I decided I love working with kids. I played football in high school, and I had a really good football coach, so I decided I was going to volunteer to coach football on base, right? And my wife called her dad and said, Dad, Dennis is going to coach football on base. And he said he'll be a great role model for those kids. That shit doesn't happen to me, man. That's Alcoholics Anonymous does that, you know? And I mean, it blew me away that it gone from, you can't get here from there, you know? I mean, in my life, just my career, my life, everything is just blooming. You know, I loved my job in the Air Force. I loved my job in the I didn't go to lunch for 11 years when I was in the Air Force because I loved what I was doing in the Air Force. And it's really funny because when I was leaving the Air Force, I was like the last week I was sick. And I called my boss and I said, hey, Mr. Perkins, I don't even know where sick call is because I'd never been there. And I left the Air Force because they offered me a GS position on base, and I came back with less responsibility and a lot more money, and I had a career as a civil servant. My wife gets a job with the federal defenders in Alabama, and she works on death penalty cases, and she's a freaking saint. My wife is the best part of me. Is my wife. I only hope someday I'll have the empathy that she has. And so, you know, we're rocking and rolling, moving along. You know, we got the big house in Deer Creek, the gated community, the BMW. Everything's great, except I'm a miserable human being. And I remember coming to a meeting one day, and Miss Carolyn, if Don T is the matriarch or the patriarch, then Miss Carolyn is the matriarch of AA in Alabama. And I said to Miss Caroline, Miss Caroline, I wish that I could I drink so I could just start over again. And this is 10 years sober, right? And I remember what she said to me. Oh, sweetie, you don't have to drink. You can just start over. And I was like, it never dawned on me, man. It never dawned on me. And there was a guy who passed away. His name was Don D. Don would always say, if you're right in the middle, you can't fall off the edge. And that's what I did. I got in the middle. You know, I got in the middle. We started this group. You know, I really started getting sober at happy hour. Then we did that Wednesday meeting with everybody, and then we started here. And my life was getting better. My wife her career is going off the chain crazy. She's just doing a magnificent job, and I get a phone call one day, and I get offered a position for a defense contractor. I'm in the Air Force. I'm working. At this time, I'm in a job that I really don't like at all. And they offered me a job, and I said, I'll give you a figure. And I gave them a figure, and they said, yeah. And so I started a new job, you know. And we're just killing it, man. We're just absolutely killing it. Well, I leave the Air Force, and the first thing that we did is we have to get life insurance policies because I no longer have the life insurance that I had in the Air Force. And so we go and we buy these policies, and when I go to get my blood work done, they say, we don't like this. We think something's wrong. You might have cancer. And I said, all right, what'd I do? And they said, you're just going to have to see some doctors and everything. And I went to my doctor. My doctor said, you don't have prostate cancer, but we'll keep checking your blood, you know, just in case. And about 6 months later, March 17th, got a blood test, and he said something is wrong. And so I found out that I have this like rare form of leukemia. And I go to UAB, I go to Emory, and I go to Mass General because they say, you got 12 to 16 months if we can't find a donor for you. And so I I go to Mass General. My brother becomes my donor. I'm in Boston for 7 months, and I didn't die, and I'm still alive. But then COVID hit. When I got back in December, that was just before COVID hit, so I was wearing masks way before it was cool. I got to be honest with you. I mean, because we were getting. My wife was washing the groceries before they came into the house, because I couldn't be near. I had to be in Boston for the 7 months, and it was just before Christmas I got home. So my daughter and my 2 beautiful granddaughters ended up moving back to New York, and I had to be within an hour. They wanted me to be within an hour of a transplant center, so and Emory had become like the COVID hub of the Southeast, and so they weren't allowing transplant patients anywhere near the hospital. So I applied for a loan, and I got bought a house on the internet, not online. We moved to New York. My daughter closed on her house on June 1st. I closed on mine on July 1st, right? When I got there, my granddaughters were swimming in my pool, and my mom had meatballs in my refrigerator. It was like, oh, welcome home, man. It was great. And I got involved right away with AA. I got a great life. I have a great life. My grandchildren are, I could go on and on. Because they're both beautiful, extremely beautiful. They're both extremely talented as well. And that comes from me. It doesn't. One of them I'll give you a brief description of the 2. I took one of them to Vegas to see Adele. She wanted to eat at the Eiffel Tower, eat at the Parisian Cafe, eat this. The other one I took to Vegas to see Jabberwockies and something else. And she said, Tots, they call me Tots. She said, Tots, can we feed a homeless person? And that's Grandma. That's G-Ma. Because that's what G-Ma would think right away. They call her G-Ma, gangster. She listens to gangster rap. That's why I always drive, because I'm not going to listen to it. So, anyway, my life is just going along. And some weird things start to happen. We go on a vacation in Paris, and my wife is just doing some stupid stuff, and I am like getting angry. And this is where I learned the difference between empathy and anger. Did some really dumb shit, and I was, Sarah, you gotta freaking pay attention. You gotta pay attention. And we're in Paris, and I'm telling her, Sarah, you can't just wander. You can't speak French. And her sister was a little upset at me that I was telling her to pay attention. And her sister said to me the next day, I understood exactly what I was telling her. Something's wrong with Sarah. And when we got back, my family had basically done an intervention on me. And because they had all been with Sarah the week before, and they said, Dennis, something's wrong with Sarah. Something's wrong with Sarah. And so my mother said the only thing you can't do is nothing, which is great freaking advice. And we took her, and we found out she's got frontotemporal dementia. She's 54 years old. And it crushed me. It crushed me. I'm supposed to be the one. And so what we did, and this is AA, man. We did a bucket list. I mean, why not, we did a bucket list. We did anything and everything she wanted to do. Cape Cod, we spent time in Boston. We went with the Cooks. We went to Chicago. We went to LA for a Foo Fighter concert. We saw multiple concerts. We did anything and everything that she wanted to do, man. And it ended in LA with COVID, but that's a whole another story. And now it's progressed to a point where we've gone to the people coming into the house, we've gone to the half-a-day daycare, we've gone to all of this stuff, and she was in a assisted living, and now she's in a skilled nursing. She can barely speak. now, you know. But I am going to tell this story because it reminds me of exactly what AA is, you know. I'm going in and I'm feeding her, right? And she's hasn't spoken probably 6 weeks, you know, other than MedTech 7 o'clock, MedTech 7 o'clock, pants for me, MedTech 7 o'clock. That's what she says. I don't even know what they mean, but that's what she says. But she looks at me and she says, honey, I love you so much. And I was blown away, right? And the next day I go in and I'm feeding her and she looks at me and she says, honey, no more carrots. And I'm like, that's just like you got to suit up and show up to get the I love yous. You know, some days are I love yous. Some days are no more fucking carrots, man. And that's just the way that it is. But the whole point, and the only reason I told this, and I didn't want to, but I was talked to by some people. You know, everything in my life, when I agreed to go to see that shrink on Tuesday and I'd gone to the AA meeting on Sunday, that was supposed to be an intervention for me. And because I had gone to the meeting on Sunday, they didn't do the intervention. And I'm telling you something, if they'd have done the intervention, I'd have run. I come from a family of runners. You know, you'd have a different speaker today. But the bottom line is, man, everything that's good in my life is a direct result of Alcoholics Anonymous. Everything. None of this I can do without Alcoholics Anonymous. I am 36 years sober. I go to a minimum of 4 meetings a week. You know, my sponsor's making me, my female sponsor is making me, I've been doing Zoom a lot. She's making me go back to in-person meetings. And so I started to go back to in-person meetings. And I've started to, you know, like get involved. We had to sell the house, and just a lot of stuff happened with Sarah. So now I live to where I can be to her in 10 minutes and take care of her. And there's only one reason. When I went to Boston for that transplant, the survival rate was 57%. The only reason I'm here today is because my God wants me to be available to take care of her. AA gave me all this, you know, and I am so grateful for that 1 hour a day where I get to feed her lunch and she says stupid ass shit, you know. It just, you never know what's going to come out of her mouth, but I'm there with her, you know, and I love her and she loves me. My sponsor told me something the other day, and I didn't really know how to take it, but my sponsor said, Dennis, you love so hard. And I didn't know if that was a compliment or not. But I am so grateful that AA has given me the ability to love. It's given me the ability to be loved. It's given me the ability to fly to Montgomery, Alabama again. And coming here is just memory after memory of how great things were. And they're no longer, you know. So, I don't know, man. I feel like it's a really good time for me just to shut the fuck up and go home. But thank you so much for listening.
We consider sponsorship to be a vital tool towards maintaining sobriety. Happy Hour has a phone list up here with a Y designating your willingness to serve as a temporary sponsor. So if you don't have a sponsor, please feel free to pick up a list, because there's lots of men and women on that list who are around and want to be here. And also remember that we've got literature for sale and pamphlets for free in the back. And if you need something, you can see me after the meeting. And I have asked Faye to come and hand out the chips.
All right. Hey everybody, I'm Faye and I am an alcoholic.
Hey Faye.
Yeah. Thanks. This is not a tradition of AA, but of this group. So what 8A does, or this group does, is offers a silver chip for. Hey, Eileen, good gracious. Dennis, wherever you are, thank you. I want to say this before I start on the chips, and thank you for your share. They told me when I first started, the speaker meeting's for the speaker. The rest of you don't remember more than 10 minutes of it. And I believe that. And that's what we connect to. I asked Dennis to go with me for, Margaret told me to find a speaker for Tutwiler. And Dennis and I have the same year anniversary. And I said, Dennis, come and talk to the women at Tutwiler. And guess what? He had offers of marriage for 15 years. They loved him. AA offers a silver chip for anyone who would like to start or restart the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. I will meet you halfway on this one. This is the only one I'll meet you halfway on. Anyone want a silver chip? Okay. You're not going to get it, steal it out of the thing from me. 1 month? Anyone got a month? How about 2 months? 3 months?
Oh, hold on.
3. Months, 4 months. I mean, wait a minute, I'm at the wrong.
No 4 or 5.
You know where that happens.
I know.
3, all right, we're on the cycle periods now. You know, every 3 months you're crazy. So that was 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. The best one. 9 months, you're turning the corner. Okay, for periods of a year or more, we offer medallions. And they go from 1 to however many we have here. Anybody got a year? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm giving an 11-year chip too. Oh, she's getting tuned up. I'm not going to do that. Anyway, she's had plenty of experience. She started in this group. She wasn't quite ready, but she started here. And I think most of us come in not quite ready. And then somewhere along the line, we fall in and we find somebody. And I know Vicki Stanlin helped her get through that first year. My God Almighty. They worked so hard together and broke some boundaries. And I know Vicki B. also helped her out. She can tell you all that. And then she and I got connected, and today we couldn't connect to get this done. So today I'm going to offer her her 11-year chip. Come and tell them here she is.
How'd you do it? How'd you do it?
In front of the camera.
God did this, but AA and this fellowship and these steps showed me how to get back to God and have a relationship with my higher power. And that's what I'm so grateful for.
Thank you. Is there anyone picking up more than 11? And congratulations on your 50. That's an awesome thing. I went to Vancouver and sat with the 50-year ups, and it was wonderful. I'm not 50 years sober. Once again, I'll meet you halfway on a beginner's chip, silver chip, whatever you want to call it. Anyone brave enough to get up here and, you could have relapsed. I don't know. Or got drunk. Let's put it like it is. Got drunk. All right. For those of you that are sober today, give yourself, give God a hand.
Thank y'all
so much for being here. This has been so exciting. Okay, don't forget, we've got literature for sale, pamphlets for free. If you need something after the meeting, see me, and I'll be happy to sign something for you. And remember that anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all of our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. And for those who would like, we're going to do separate circles. So for those who would like, we're going to stand together and try to hold hands and say the Lord's Prayer. And you guys in the middle and you guys in the back, just gather around as best you can.
Get in here, girl.
There you go. Just, it can snake around.
All right, that's good.
Okay. Does everybody have a hand? All right. Who brought us here today? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Amen. Coming back, it works if you work it.